back to Rohrich Knose podcast. I'm Dr. Rohrich, and I have a special guest today. And you all have been asking me a lot about exosomes. I mean, I think I surprised you when I talked about exosomes. Here's a plastic surgeon talking about exosomes. But I have one of the world's experts here with me, Atta Behfar. Hey, welcome. Welcome to Big D.
Nice to be here.
He's a professor of medicine at Mayo, the world famous Mayo Clinic. I grew up in the Dakotas, so we all know about the Mayo Clinic, and so does everybody else. It's kind of where people go if they really want to get better. And now it's an incredible center of innovation. So welcome to Dallas. And he's also the CEO of Rion, which is an innovative new company that's going to really be transformational, I think, in all of not only plastic surgery, but in medicine. So we're going to talk a little bit about its applications in plastic surgery. And so, Atta, tell me, I mean, why don't you just bring us up to date from what exosomes are? And then I got a lot of questions for you about how it can benefit us in plastic surgery and our patients, and why it's going to be a true game changer. And it is a game changer.
Absolutely. First, thanks for having me. It's great to be here with you in person. I think the best way to explain what exosomes are is just simply to understand that cells need a way to communicate to one another.
Right.
And the product that they produce, just like the words that we use to communicate with each other, is an exosome.
Right.
So for a cell to send a message to another cell, it makes an exosome, so it shoots it out, another cell receives it and absorbs it.
And it tells it what to do.
And it tells it what to do.
Right.
And the term exosome is a catch-all. It's the same as like a cell, right? And there's millions and millions of different types of exosomes that are in your body, right? Your nerves make exosomes, your muscles do. Even, cancer cells make exosomes. Inflammatory cells make exosomes. So as we think about using exosomes therapeutically, to just hear the word exosome and say, oh, this is going to be helpful to me, sort of takes us down the wrong road. So one thing we've really tried to do, especially in regenerative medicine, is try to understand what is a regenerative exosome, or what we call a regenosome. The reason we termed it that way is to categorize it like you do for a skin cell or a muscle cell. Right. Really, truly say what it does.
Regenosome.
Regenosome.
Really? Oh, that's actually neat. Did you?
We made it up. It's a neologism.
I like that. It's the modern world. We just make it as we go.
That's right.
But
it's a new field.
But the science is fascinating behind exosomes. I mean, people in the past have talked about stem cells, and then you go down a real different path. And actually, that's a path that really, certainly I think scares some people. And of course, it certainly scares the FDA. But so how are exosomes different, and why is it the next new and hottest thing that we can use and for our patients?
So stem cells had been utilized for many, many years with the hope that they would really, first it was they're going to cobblestone new tissues. Right. And there's still some hope with IPS that might happen, especially for eye applications. Then it was, well, let's take bone marrow or fat-derived or umbilical cord-derived stem cells and use their angiogenic, use their anti-inflammatory effect to try to reverse some chronic disease conditions. Problem with that has been, one, cost. It's very costly to make it. Two, it's a living entity. So your benefit's going to be variable across different patients. It's very difficult to have dose-to-dose equivalence.
Right, and it's non-specific, right?
And it's non-specific. Yeah. It's just sort of a broad type of general application. And the last is the cold chain, right? We learned about that with the Pfizer vaccine, right? Having something that's a cold chain supplied makes it very difficult to access broadly. So as we learned about all of these limitations in regenerative medicine, what we wanted to do was try to come up with a solution that would be much more broadly accessible. And so the first thing to think of is, well, is there a technique that we can utilize that doesn't need living cells, right? And
that gets rid of a lot of the issues surrounding stem cells.
Exactly. Gets rid of all of the different things about stem cells that we haven't really liked and haven't really enjoyed as we've tried to use them. The second was, well, sometimes, you really get great benefit with stem cells. And sometimes you really, really don't. And it's been, a lot of hand waving to try to understand what those differences are.
Yeah, it's not target focused. Yeah.
It's not target focused. So what we did was we took a lot of clinical trial experience with stem cells, and we had biobanked many, many doses that had gone into patients. And these patients were out 5 years since the therapeutic event. And we just simply paired the behavior of these stem cells in a petri dish to the patient's clinical outcome, and discovered that really the delta there was the presence of a unique type of exosome.
Right.
And so once that discovery was made, and I think we were one of the groups to show that, but other people corroborated that same finding, it became pretty apparent, at least for soft tissue regeneration in particular, that the key active ingredient of tissue healing isn't the stem cell.
It's the exosome.
It's the exosome.
It's the messenger that's telling him what to do. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. So rather than hitting a big target with, like a big cannon, you want to do it with a focused laser beam.
Exactly right. And you want it to give the exact precise cues that drive these events.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a great explanation. So let's fast forward. I mean, you're a world expert. You've done a lot of research in this. And so let's go to plastic surgery. I mean, things of wound healing, hair growth, regrowth, and, and all those exciting things. And then, skincare. I mean, because certainly, we're in the age of, can we really turn back can we turn back time? Can we stop aging? Can we reverse some of the aging? Can we tell exosomes to say, hey, can we stop it? Can we tell the telomeres that? I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
So that's a question that we ask. And I think it's the same sort of paradigm across a broad array of tissues, right? The same questions we ask about the heart, the same questions we ask about the brain, we ask about the skin, right?
Right.
And one of the things that we increasingly are finding across a broad array of tissues is cellular senescence.
Yeah.
And the fact that if you have one cell that's starting to look old, it starts to corrupt a halo of cells around it, which then corrupts more halos. Right. And that's really sort of the perpetuation of aging. Right, in tissue.
So if you can stop that potentially or slow it down, that would be great.
Right. And so the first question is, well, why does that even happen, right? And it happens because we're alive and we're living in a stressful environment. We have sunlight, we have toxins, we have environmental stressors. What does that do? Well, it causes oxidative stress for our cells. It causes DNA damage.
Right.
The cell's trying to overcome that. Sometimes it doesn't. It sheds free radicals and other inflammatory exosomes, and it leads to telomere shrinkage, and other cells start to get old as well. One of the key features that we found with regenerative exosomes is actually the resilience of cells to oxidative stress. So what these exosomes do very uniquely is that they donate enzymes that are in the powerhouse of your cells, the mitochondria. Right. They actually dump them right into the cell in excess.
So they slow down that breakdown of the cell, or?
Well, they don't let the cell succumb to oxidative stress.
Oh, really?
They actually don't let the cell even make free radicals.
Man, I could have used that today. Long day I had.
Right? So then you don't get DNA damage. You don't get as many cells getting old. You don't get the rotten apple.
So does it slow it down? Does it reverse it? Does it turn it off, or slows it down a lot?
So we've seen the ability of cells even to tolerate growth in hydrogen peroxide, right? So it really truly shuts down.
Wow, that's awesome.
Obviously not a pure concentration, but it can tolerate H2O2 or hydrogen peroxide in a condition. So it definitely dramatically shuts these processes down.
That's awesome.
And it can sort of limit your aging process.
That's great. So let's talk about what you're doing with your company, you know, and I think you're launching skincare, and we're going to be actually here in Dallas. We're going to be the first practice to ever use exosomes in skincare. So tell us about this amazing new product and what's it going to do for our skin.
So as we were leveraging the use of these regenerative exosomes in different medical applications, we realized that there's just tremendous benefit to the skin itself.
Right.
And so what we ended up doing is launching a vertical company called Rion Aesthetics.
Right.
And in launching that entity, we actually are commercializing a new product called Plated Skin Science, which packs a massive number of these exosomes in every bottle.
That's it.
And
it's called, and your company is called Rion, R-I-A-N.
R-I-O-N.
R-I-O-N.
Aesthetics.
And what does that mean?
So it's actually a long story. So my co-founder is Andre Terzic. Mm-hmm. And Rion is actually a remote city in Greece. And really? And so we named it after the city because we made this product to be completely off the shelf and portable and global. And so we thought if we can, at the time when we launched the company, we thought that if we can actually make this product so it's room temperature stable and it can make it to a clinic in Rion,
that is going to be okay.
We know we've succeeded. And we have actually done that, right? We can actually ship this product to Rion.
That's neat. That's great. Yeah. Well, no, I'll never forget it after that. So, okay, tell us about this. Now, these are truly platelet-derived exosome products?
Yeah, so there's human platelet extract in this product. And the 4x concentration of the Platelet Skin Science product has actually 1 trillion exosomes for every ml that's in here.
1 trillion?
1 trillion exosomes.
God, that's like taking probiotics. You go, oh my God, we have 1 billion.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We're
in the trillions.
We're in the trillions now.
Well, there's a reason for that. So,
and they're all active. I mean, and they're platelet derived. They're generic. They're not.
Yeah, they're platelet derived, and they are really purified in a way to ensure that they have skin benefits.
So if I take it, and again, I'm going to put some on my hands. So what does it do? And what do you do? I mean, it feels good.
Yeah, it feels good.
Smells good.
Smells fine.
So tell us what's happening here.
So it has really several modes of action. The main mode of action, I think, that we described as this antioxidant benefit.
Okay.
So it does protect against free radical damage, environmental stressors, and we're studying its impact on things like cellular senescence.
So what and how often do you apply it, and what do you expect it to happen with the skin?
So so you apply it twice a day, and we've actually done a clinical study, the first ever cosmetic clinical study at Mayo Clinic called POSH. And the trial results are just coming out there.
And you got an abstract on it.
And we have an abstract at Maui Derm.
Yes, and I actually shared it with me. I don't know if can you talk about it now? Has it been released yet? Or
yeah, it's been released.
Okay. Yeah, share it with us because I actually thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, so the PI of the study is Saranya Wiles, who's a regenerative scientist in her own right and a dermatologist.
At the Mayo Clinic.
At the Mayo Clinic. What she did is she essentially treated 56 subjects twice a day with this product and has been able to show a significant reduction, at least this is what the poster shows, and statistically significant reduction in redness.
Right.
She's been able to show evenness in skin tone and skin texture. So we've been able to document using the Camfield camera technology. So the pictures are actually matched, and we make sure that the lighting and everything's exactly the same. And we've been able to quantify significant benefits with daily use of this product.
Yeah, I mean, we'll actually show that. I mean, I love that if we can share the abstract. That's great.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, I think it's great. And I like it because it's more target focused, not stem cells, but this is very focused, very target focused. So,
Right.
so what else? Yeah, it actually feels good. And so what long-term changes are you going to see? How long have you used it? So use it twice a day, morning and night, and then long-term, I mean, obviously the redness gets better, more uniformity in skin tone.
Redness gets better. We're studying its impact on skin microbiome, or we're looking at pore size, wrinkles, or early signals of benefit, but we have to really quantify the data to know how it's going to look for those other domains.
So of course, and we're actually going to be launching it in my practice and Dallas Plastic Surgery Institute, and of course you're going to be at our meeting at Dallas Cosmetic, Dallas Rhino. But so what else? So what else is we talked a little bit about some other products or other things. I mean, hair is a very hot area, and wound healing. So tell us about some of those other things that are in development.
Well, so on the skincare side, we're working on technologies that are sort of cousin technologies to this product, where we look at scalp health and hair health that you can use almost with topical application. But then because Rion, the parent company, does have a big focus on clinical trials and having an FDA regulated clinical exosome product, which is the Regenosome. We are in aesthetics now looking at application of this for things like tissue fillers, hair restoration, et cetera, really to try and offer a standardized regenerative exosome technology to the field of plastic surgery. I think beyond that, Rion itself is looking to actually do a lot of dermatological applications, whether it's for wound healing. We actually have with Steve Moran, who
awesome,
an active trial right now at Mayo looking at wound healing. We're going to further advance that this year with additional trials, but beyond that, we'll also have derm applications for things like atopic dermatitis, rosacea, and other skin syndromes as well.
That's awesome. I need some water. You want some water?
I'm good.
So I'm gonna. Okay, so I want to do a summary and wrap. Okay, so these are all exciting things, and certainly as a plastic surgeon, the skincare and the hair regrowth is fascinating, and wound healing concepts, and because I think that there's so many things now that because exosomes is kind of becoming a buzzword, and I know we talked about it in our last podcast. There's a lot of these other companies that are saying and doing that they have exosomes, but tell us, what is the market differentiator for Rion? What makes it different and so much more in the face of plastic surgery is going to be more applicable? Tell us how that's different, because I want our listeners to hear that, and because I've gotten so many emails and texts about what is exosomes, when are you going to be coming out with a product and things. So
sure. So I think the differentiator for us is that the exosomes we purify come from really a source cellular manufacturing resource, which is the platelet. Mm-hmm. We found that mesenchymal stem cells really recycle serological exosomes to achieve regenerative events, whereas platelets are really the source material. Makes sense, right? When you injure yourself, they come out of
platelets come out to the battleground,
and so they are the ones that really drive healing. With that realization, we've been able to scale exosome manufacturing to a massive level to be able to make skincare products, but also to be able to make thousands and thousands of doses per manufacturing run to ensure that every single dose has a uniform number of exosomes. The characteristics and purity of these exosomes are the same. We've defined impurities, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's one differentiator. The second differentiator, and why we can go to Rion in Greece with this product, is that it's room temperature stable.
Wow.
when you look at most technologies like exosomes or growth factors, et cetera, they have to be flash frozen. Why doesn't ours? Is because when we purify these exosomes, we don't actually subject them to massive G forces to get them out of solution.
So that's a very patented. So that's a patented process. So basically, it's stable at room temperature. It's uniform in its potency, and it's reproducible. So this product is the same in every product you have in skincare. It's not different.
Exactly.
And it's safe. Yeah.
And that's safe.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. So what's next? You know, I mean, obviously this, you know, I've obviously felt this was a very important topic. I've now talked about it twice in our podcast. So what's next? I mean, we're going to, and obviously once we launch it here in Dallas, and you're welcome to come and get samples at Dallas Cosmetic, and also probably even later in the year, the Cosmetic Boot Camp. But you know, Dallas Cosmetic Surgery meeting will be coming up in March, and we're going to have some samples for people to try, and certainly we're going to be doing that, and we hope to do some clinical studies with you. So what's next after that?
So I think Rion proper is obviously very aggressively pursuing several clinical avenues. With my background, we have a big cardiovascular effort that we're pursuing. Mm-hmm. We have seen tremendous benefit in orthopedics with this technology. We have several papers already out with this. So we are pursuing degenerative joint disease applications. We've also seen really unique benefit in women's health, actually. And so both for things like vaginal prolapse, but also stress urinary incontinence.
Really?
There's just unique application to restore those soft tissues, right? So, you know, a lot of these soft tissues in different parts of the body obviously have very different functions, but at the cellular level, they need the same sort of things. So
really, it's in restorative and regenerative medicine. That's really where all of this is heading. I mean, that's a really fascinating area today, and it's science-based. I mean, I like that. So, you know, and I think certainly things like, you know, like the platelet-derived exosomes are something that are safe, they're reproducible, and I think that it's like, you know, the sky's the limit, I think, right?
Right. I think, you know, we're at a position where we can obviously choose the direction we want to go in, but also what we've tried to do very carefully is at every single step, document scientifically, you know, what is happening, characterize the product, characterize the outcome so that we move forward in a very scientific fashion. Well,
I love this topic because it's science-based, and I love Atta because he's really an expert and he's an honest guy. I mean, he's from the Mayo Clinic. So, and, you know, I like being part of that. You know, I like being part of people that really are bringing new innovations, that are honest, that are really bringing forth great products to make your life better, our lives better. So, you know, so you can be a better you. So stay tuned. I'm sure we're going to have you back, and we're going to talk a lot more about the next advances in exosomes and Rion and all the things you're doing. So it's great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Take care.
Thanks so much.